Okay, I think I'm back. Let me check if I'm back. Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry, for some reason my connection went down. My internet connection went down for 1 minute or so. So I don't know if it will be a split stream or whatever. We will see what YouTube does if he puts the two videos together or if he's splitting it. But my internet went down for 1 minute. I also lost the connection there. But anyway, what I was saying is that whenever we are, so we need to initialize the exchange. That's fine. But then there is a number of functions that are called automatically, I think, when we move the item, right? And that is what we want to check. I'm very curious to understand how this works, because I'm not sure if is us on the client side that have to call this. Move an item from one slot to another in the exchange. We swap the item if another item is already present. Send out the relevant network messages. Okay, but this move item, is it called by who? Move from offering. Container exchange offering. Move from offering. PS slot movement message. Slot manager. Move from offering. Handle slot movement. It seems that all of this is done inside handle slot movement. So if we are lucky, I don't know if we are, but if we are lucky, all of that is already handled by the same function that we already have, because this function we have already ported. And it seems that inside of this is doing a bunch of reasoning, you know, if it's moving from inventory, if it's moving in one way, moving from offering, moving money, moving from container, moving. So all of this is already kind of considered. Nice. So let's see what happens. Okay, let's assume for a second that add item and remove item works automatically for us, which I hope it does. And let's go and just, so I recompiled, right? So we have these functions. Let's call this function why saying that is not implemented? It is implemented. Okay, so let's call this start exchange. So let's start the editor. We start the editor and we recompile just the DLL. For now, I would like just to call this one, and I think something good will happen. I have the feeling something good will happen, because it's only the start of the exchange that we are missing at the moment. The rest of the movement seems to be handled already by the same method that we are calling. So maybe enough. The only thing that we are not doing at the moment on the client side is to update the exchange window based on what we get from the server. That's the only thing that we are not doing at the moment. The good thing is that, yeah, part of the server code is really staying the same. Let me check if YouTube decided to split our stream now in two. It might be, because it went down for 1 minute at least. No, it seems not. Or yes. Yeah. He created one video I think he created one video and he's processing it now. Yeah, so 45 minutes. Okay, it's fine. Okay, we will keep it separate. It's fine. I will just name it 40.1 and 40.2. Okay, so we have compiled. We have our method. Our method should be here. So when do we need to call this? We need to call this when we are inside the NPC bubble and when we click on give item, right? That is the place where we want to call that. So chat bubble with trigger game item to NPC. Okay, this is when we do the setup. Set up the chat bubble. Then inside a single chat bubble, which is inside is a chat bubble. Inside of this, pop up the exchange window. There it is. So the first thing we want to do, we want to initialize the exchange, right? So that is basically initialize the exchange and pop up the exchange window. So to initialize the exchange, what we can do, so I did something stupid. I could have extended it from the other side, right? Okay. So what we want to do, we want to call start exchange, which is in our yes, the only point is that we cannot call it like this. We have to call it on the server side, right? Sorry, we cannot call it like this. We have to go in our character blueprint, create a new method, a new event. Where are all the events? And they can keep it together with the others. Are not here because here we are in mouse and keyboard. So is here an event graph exactly. So here we need to create a new event. So add event custom, yes, and we want to call it start exchange, I guess. Why not? Even if sometimes if you're calling everything the same name, it starting to mess up, you know. So start exchange message. Let's call it start exchange message. So we are sure it's not the same name, right? This one we just have to click here to say that it's running on server and is reliable. Okay, so that's the only thing we need to do. And then this one will call our function, which is the start exchange, right? And this one will do all the job. We don't need to continue from here because the server will then send us an update. Okay, target is self, yes. Client is us, but the problem is, where does it say? How does it know which NPC I'm speaking about? It takes the one that I've selected. Maybe it takes the one I've selected. Huh? How does it know? Do I have a start exchange here? No. I think it probably takes the currently selected NPC. Yeah, it does get target object. So it's using the first thing it does inside this function is to get our target object, so the one that we clicked. So if we click outside, so if we remove the target object, it will not work. Okay, but anyway, I think no one will do that. So our client is ourself. So this client is actually us. So we should, I don't think this is really needed because it knows already is us, but let's just give it to him. Okay, here. So that, let me check this just the new code because it's better. So start exchange client, yes, with player false. We should just set this player as false, because it's actually an NPC, and in fact you see this one with player is not flagged. Automatic exchange, we leave the default. The default is what? The default is false, I think. Yeah, false, and quest ID -1. Okay, so this is the default. We leave it as it is. It's already reading the default. So yeah, this is just start an exchange with NPC. Okay, as simple as that. As simple as that. Okay. Now we need to call it from, so this one we can compile and save. In our chat bubble, now we are calling start exchange message, right? So we call it like this. And this one will be, yes, going to the server and starting the exchange. Now, after this one, we pop up the window. Yes, we pop up the exchange window. Now, when you close the exchange, I don't know exactly when it ends, right? In the old, how does it know that I decided to end something? To end the. How does it know that I ending the exchange? So for sure, when I click on accept, but maybe it's also when I close the window. When I close the window, it automatically sends an exchange. Could be. We can test it in the old client. But I think that's the way it does. Okay, so let's see if we don't get PS character. Yes. PS character. We have it here. So we can just do this. And do this. And do this. Okay. Yeah, because both functions need the character as a, yeah. Okay. So this one should run already, right? So what I want to see, now, if we launch the client and the server, I want to see two things. One, I'm getting a printout on the server of the fact that the trade is started. And second, hopefully I don't get anymore the message that there is no exchange initiated. Let's check it. Okay. Let me see if server side. Yeah, server side we have start exchange, as you can see. Now, if I move an item from my inventory to here, I should not get any more the error I was getting before. Now I still get the error. Can't find exchange 0. But actually I initiated the exchange, so is this a message we get on the server? Yes, it's a message we get on the server, because this slot movement is correct. It's saying from container -1 slot 20 to container -3 slot 0, proposing to move item blah 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 blah. But then it says this. Can't find exchange. Okay, let's look at the code. Maybe there is something we are not passing in the right the right something. Can't find exchange. So it's doing get exchange ID. Yeah, who's calling this though? Get exchange ID. Wait, I want get exchange. Get exchange is handle exchange accept. No, it's not our case. Our case is handle auto give. No. Nothing else. Send inventory. I don't know if he's inside of this. When exchange only send partial inventory, blah blah blah. What is non offer? No. Exchange managers. But basically, when we are starting the, so let's check when we start the exchange, because I think when we start the exchange, we are probably setting a parameter somewhere, start exchange, and now, and here maybe we are not doing it. Let me check what this code is doing. Okay, so is getting the target object, fine, which it will be our NPC. It checks if we are in distance to the target. Okay, to exchange. Okay. Check all the other preconditions. We don't know if this fails or not. And then it checks if the command was a give, can give item to NPC only, if he's trade. Maybe he's failing inside his exchange check. What do you think? Maybe he's failing here. He's checking if you're not sitting, if you're not in combat, if you're not frozen. There it is, client get exchange ID. It is where it's not working. Get exchange ID. Return exchange ID. But I don't think we are ever setting this, right? So it will always be 0. Exchange check. I don't think we are setting this anywhere. Start exchange. Are we setting this somewhere else? Where do we set this exchange ID? I have no idea. Let me search for set exchange ID and see where is set. It's doing it here. Well, it's doing it after. Set exchange ID is doing it after this check. I mean, if he's doing it after this check, how can it work? Set exchange ID, get ID. Layer 2 NPC exchange. Now this for sure is doing it somewhere else. Handle answer. Handle answer. What is this handle answer thingy? What is this? Handle answer? Ignore if he's busy. Ignore if the answer is invited, declare is in trade. Ignore the answer if the inviter is already in a trade. If the inviter or the invited. Okay, that's fine. but with NPCs this is not valid, right? In fact, it is a player-to-player exchange. It is a player-to-player. It's not the one that we are looking at the moment. This one and the answer seems to be player-to-player only. Player-to-player exchange. Handle accept. Player-to-player. We're still in player-to-player. He's saying we must set the exchange ID to 0, so that will now save. Okay, so this is after we accept though. This is after we accept. No, I want to know when this is set start exchange. Man, start exchange is doing the check here and is setting the variable down here. So how can this be? This will always fail, so there must be somewhere else. It must be somewhere else. It's only here actually, there is no other place. Player to player, player to NPC, there is the accept. No, it's only here unfortunately. We are missing the point where the exchange is actually sent to the client, is actually set on the server side. We are missing this place. We are missing this thing. So in our sequence, we said that in our sequence there was the slot movement. There was this exchange request. There were two messages, right? These two messages are a bit weird to me. There are two messages. One is player none false, and another one is player unquest false. Right? That is what is a bit weird. This one has nothing to do with an action location. GUI target update, GUI interact, slot and here I move. No, it's one of these two messages. It's absolutely these two messages. Message exchange request, right? Message exchange request. There is the one which we said that it was initialized by what? There was a message that we have found. It was PS exchange something, right? PS exchange. It was a PS exchange. Let me just search it like this. Yes, it was PS exchange request message. I was expecting this one to set the exchange ID, but seems it's not doing it. It's just calling start exchange, which is the function that we just ported. So I don't know what I'm missing, but handle exchange request. Let me see if inside this file there is this exchange ID. And where is it? Exchange ID, no? Get exchange ID. What was the name of the thingy? Exchange ID. No, exchange ID is inside PS character. Exchange ID is inside PS character, and the function also set exchange, get exchange is inside PS character. So in this file, we are not accessing directly. We are always player to player. Handle asset. Set exchange ID is here. Start exchange. I mean, this check will always fail, right? This check will always fail. But this is only if you are already busy with another. Sorry, I didn't read it correctly. Okay, so this is only if you are already busy with another exchange, which is not our case. So this one will be skipped. Okay, perfect. Then where is it? Where is setting the exchange ID then? Character. If target character is alive. Okay, make sure that the client of target are not busy with the merchant. Okay, I think it's fine then. Okay, let's do this because I'm just losing myself into the code. Let's just debug this. Let's just relaunch it and check what is going on. Okay, because I want to see what is going on. Exchange should be valid. Should be actually valid. I don't know why he's saying this. Why he's saying can't find exchange 0, because unless we are not passing the ID properly or whatever. Because here we are initializing a new player-to-player exchange. How is creating the ID? How is creating the ID? Player to NPC exchange. This target name, if not automatic exchange. You fix me. Check the trade exchange is probably removed if one of the client disconnects. Quest ID. Who commented this? It's me. Let me check in the old code. Maybe I commented one line because I didn't have the inventory working at the moment. No. It's commented also in the old one. So this one is not needed. But there is something going on here, right? There is something going on here. PS exchange request message. Starter client get unique ID, target name false, one even message, send message, one message. Target get name. No idea what is this automatic exchange. Do you have an idea what is this automatic exchange is doing? Automatic exchange. We have a lot of documentation actually, but it's never enough. Automatic exchange. The exchange is done entirely server side. Don't open Windows on the client. It is used only with NPCs. Okay. So the exchange is done entirely server side. Don't open Windows on the client. It is done only with NPC. Yeah. I just want to understand when he's setting that freaking ID, but I think it's probably here because here we are not sending this message. I mean, in our code, we are not sending it. I'm pretty sure we are not doing it. I'm pretty sure because it's actually calling event manager, and event manager at the moment is not working. So where was it? Set exchange ID, exchange get ID. Okay, let's debug it a second because I'm so confused. Let's just debug it because it's easier. Otherwise, I will try to understand it. You know, it takes me more to understand it just to test it. I want to launch. Let's close the editor because I don't want any freaking hot reloads. Let's launch the editor and see. It takes more time to understand how it was working actually than doing the changes. So it's a good learning experience, let's say, right? It's a good learning experience. Okay, this is starting up. Now there is in debug mode, so we will see exactly what happens. Now I launch the client, I connect. Okay. I could change my spawning point to be next to the lady. Maybe it's a good idea. Or do we enjoy walking a bit when we do a test? I think we enjoy walking a bit. Okay, when I click here, the server will go in debug. Okay, so start exchange, fine. Get target object, the object is valid. Get distance is valid. Check the precondition. Okay, let me go inside of this one. I want to see what happens. Are we in peace mode? Are we? Ready? Okay. If not, what the hell? What is going on? Is it returning false or not? I didn't get this. Did we time out? Is it because we disconnected? I mean, like it was too slow and we disconnected, and that's why. Or we don't save our position, by the way. I think we should do this, right? We should save our position in the game, so we will be always in the place where we stopped. I don't think we are loading the position from the database at the moment. That's another thing to do. Okay, let me go a bit quicker because I think my client just died. Right? Let me set a breakpoint. Let me set a breakpoint. Directly inside check. Now start exchange. I want to set it here inside exchange check. Here. No, here. Why it goes inside of that? Okay. What is our mode? Why it goes directly inside of this? Our PS character mode at the moment is what? Variable is optimized. GG. Error message. You can trade while, well, apart from the fact that it is fucked up. Wait a second, this is fucked up because there is not get more string is returning a char. Can we have it return? Can we have it return an f string? No. Just a second. Let's do ANSI to HR of this. Okay. Of this. But it's giving this error, so it's like if our character at the moment is in a special mode, client get mode. Let me just check which kind of mode we are at the moment. Maybe we never set our character mode and so we don't know. That could be, huh? This could be that we are not get mode. Do we have a set mode? We should, eh? We don't. I see. Set mode, yes. So this one. I don't see any you fix me, but I'm not sure if you are even setting this to anything. Right? I don't know if we are even using this. Can I see which mode is my character on though? Because I would be interested. I'm interested to know. I think our character at the moment is in a mode that it cannot exchange items. I don't know, maybe he's dead or is considered by the server to be in an invalid mode. And so it's not working as expected. Okay. So I want to know which mode am I? My character. I want to know in which mode am I? Did he stop or not? He didn't. The source code is different. Ah, because I did this change. Fuck it. Okay. Can I go in the main thread? Can I check my character? No. It would be too cool. Okay. I did a small change to the code, and now it's complaining. Obviously, that it is different. It is different. Okay. So I need to recompile it. Maybe we can check in the old code if there was a default for set mode. When I create my PS character, is there a default mode? When I create what is it, under bulk objects, my PS character, in the creator of this, the constructor, PS character. It's not doing much. PS character is not doing much. This one, PS character, character type. I'm searching mode. If he's setting the mode to something, last name, character, set the vitals. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see mode set anywhere. So mode is not here. Set mode is not in PS character. Didn't we say that it was in PS character? Set mode and get mode? Ah no, it was in gem actor. You are right. It was in gem actor. Gem.cpp. Yes, set mode. So actually we should check the creator of the gem actor. Gem actor. Okay. Come on. It's not hard, Intelligence, my friend. Gem NPC. No, not gem NPC. I want gem actor. Gem actor. Yes, exactly. So player mode, PS character mode, piece. Probably we are not doing this. So we are not initializing this variable to anything, right? And since we are not initializing to anything, I think is considered. So okay. So when do we want to do it? We want to do it in our, like for example, we also have this set alive, right? Set alive, which I don't know exactly what it does, but set alive is setting some flags, is doing some stuff. So it's setting our character to alive, set alive, true and false. I remember this one actually. I probably added it to the new code, if I'm not wrong. If I go in PS character, I remember this. I remember set alive. Yeah, it is set alive, true and false. I think we should do the same with mode, because yes, otherwise we are not in the right mode. So we can say was in gem actor, and we can put this initialization that we just saw 1 second ago. Now I have to find it again, but it's basically player mode equal to PS character mode piece. Yes, player mode. Is this player mode the same as this one? One second, Set mode. Yeah, player mode. Yeah. Do we want to do it just like this, or do we want to call the function? I think it's exactly the same. What is doing in the background? Is recompiling everything? What the hell is going on? What did I delete? I deleted the wrong one? No. It's recompiling like freaking the wall Unreal Engine. What is it doing? What did I click on? I clicked on something I shouldn't not clicked? Maybe. Okay, so in the initialization, let's put this to PS character, APS character. Let's put it as let's see, player mode equal to PS character mode piece, okay, which I think is what we want. Now I don't know exactly why it's recompiling everything. What did I press? I usually press F7 to compile. Building a new target. What the hell? I don't know what it did. Maybe I had I had this file open, which is actually inside Unreal Engine, and when I pressed F7, it compiled the current project. That's why. Okay, I understand what I did. Okay, so anyway, we set the player mode to piece. Now, doing this, it should not fail anymore at that check and move forwards. The problem is that after this, in our exchange manager, after this, so this check will not fail anymore. I think all these checks should go correctly, should be passed. All these checks should pass, and then after this, target client cascade goes. We will enter here, and I think that is the thing. New player exchange client, set exchange ID. Yeah, this is the one that we want to do. Yeah, this is what I want to see, if it's setting any parameter or not, right? It is the one I want to see. Okay. We're getting closer. I feel it. We are getting closer. Do you feel it? I think we're getting closer, boys. We are. Then we have to fix containers as well. Huh? There's still a lot to do. But we are making good progress. All the container code is also something that we have to enable, because at the moment it's not. But I think if we have item drop, item pickup working like now, plus exchange with NPC, even if it's not with players, but it's just with NPCs, I think it's already a pretty good achievement. I would like to set the position where I am. Maybe I can do that next. Need a server stop. I didn't launch it. I launch it in normal mode. Probably yes. Start exchange. Okay, let's try to move it now. Let's try to move an item now. It's already open. It didn't give the error anymore. But it didn't give the error anymore, so it goes through. It's actually reducing the item count. It was 5, now it's 4, so it's a bit of a mess. But it's working, it's doing something, for sure it's doing something. I think it's doing something. The problem is that when we receive, so slot manager goes message. I think the problem is that we don't get our message back at the moment. Let me check. Can we remove these 2 lines because they have nothing to do and just confusing? Yes. I think from containers lot -1 message exchange add item, right? This one is the message that tells me that I have to add 1 item in the container -3, but I think that this message I'm probably never sending. I think so. I think I'm never sending this message. Okay. I think I'm never sending this. Let me launch it again in debug mode because I want to see 2 things. One, okay, did I get the proper ID? But I think now we get an ID, so I think that's fine. The ID we get here. I can debug it and check, but I think we get it proper. We get a proper ID. Client set exchange ID. Exchange get ID. I think this should be fine. The problem is after that. Okay. The problem is after that, because after that is where we get the problem. Okay. Let me just check quickly that we get the proper ID. So exchange, I want to watch it. I cannot. Sometimes these things that are optimized are so annoying. Exchange, there is an ID 1 anyway, so maybe it's this one, right? Yeah, exchange is 1. I think there is an ID 1. I think it's our ID. It's called 1 because it's the first one we do. So I think it's fine. Now I timed out already. Okay. So the ID is correct. It's set to 1, which makes sense. It's the first one we do. I think I will save my position somehow because it's getting annoying to walk there all the time. Now, if this is fine and we go through it, okay, let's go through it. Now, when I move an item, because the point here is when I move an item. When I move an item, what happens? I get an handle movement slot message. Yes, I think I get the same message when I move from inventory to inventory, just that is from inventory to exchange. Now the question is, where was that one? Was it in player controller? I think it was probably in player controller, huh? The handle slot movement something. Send move item. There it is. Handle slot movement. Okay. Okay, please go there. Okay, and the slot movement. There it is. So now we will get the slot movement. Okay, let's follow this because I have to understand what it's doing. So I take one of my falcons and I put it on slot number 1, right? So he's saying this. He's saying from container -1 slot 25. Perfect. This is exactly what we need. Then he's trying to understand which is the container. Container inventory equipment. So move from inventory. Yes, that is correct. Let me just see what it does when it goes inside of this. It's checking the slot, the item proposed. Okay, it's saying propose moving item gold falcon from slot 25. Okay, that's perfect. If it's in use, no. How many I am offering? The container. Explanation. Okay. Container exchange offering. Okay, you see, he got it right. He got it right. If item proposed is a container, I would say no, so it should go here. Exchange manager, get exchange ID. Okay, let's see if this one is valid. Yes, it's valid, so we got our ID number 2 for whatever reason. Okay, it's fine. If not exchange, we give an error. No. We should probably swap item for now, require an empty slot. So is checking find exchange slot offered message to slot. What is doing here? Find exchange slot offered. Let's go in because I don't know what this thing is doing. Find exchange slot offered. What is this? Slot ID is cycling on my inventory. Yeah, just searching the item that is in inventory. Okay, fine. Okay, IntelliSense, thank you. I did it before you could give me the answer. So it's cycling. Okay, so it's finding. It's checking if the inventory is if the slot is valid. Why it says this? We should probably swap items for now, require an empty slot. What is this? This is not the right command for the right line, I think. Then set exchange offering slot. Set exchange offering slot. What this does, I have no idea. We have no information. Okay, we have no documentation on this. Set exchange offering slot. Okay, let's go in because I have no idea what this is doing. Set exchange inventory index, exchange offer slot, exchange stack count. There is an additional parameter in our inventory slots, which is this. Okay, didn't know. Slot 1, stack count 1. Okay, anyway, it's doing it. And then is adding an item to the exchange, right? And this is where I think we fail. I mean, I think this is where we don't have yet the code to do it. Getting current inventory items and inventory item. Send add item message. I think this message we are not sending at the moment. Exactly. So this one we are not sending back to the client. Send add item message. So this one we should do. This one we should do and we are not doing at the moment. PS exchange add item message. Event manager send message. I think this one is gonna crash, by the way. This object is not even valid. No, it's valid. The object is valid, but okay, let's see what it does. But I think we have a problem here. Let me put a bookmark on this because we create this new message, which I would say is fine. Okay, it completely skipped that. Like, I don't know why. It completely skipped that. It completely skipped this line. Event manager is valid because if I open it, it has an invalid name, but well, actually it looks a bit fucked up. It looks so empty. Event manager. Didn't we get an event manager the structure anyway some time ago? I think we did. I think we did. Our event manager is getting destroyed. No. I remember seeing a message here. It was saying event manager destroyed or something like this. Do you see it? I don't see it, but maybe it's there. Event manager. Maybe it was in the previous load. No. But anyway, we are not gonna. There it is. Event manager the structure. Found it. But anyway, we are not gonna use the event manager to actually queue that message, right? This message is a message we want to send immediately, and I don't think there is any reason why we should use the event manager for that. We will use the event manager only for timers, and this thing is not timed out. I mean, it's not a timer; it's just a standard message. So. Now the point is that we should convert this piece of code to just a normal real call. We don't want it as a message, right? We don't want it as this thing. There is an old thing. We don't want it anymore. We want to send the same information, which is okay. The client, the item name. I don't know why we're sending the item name, but fine. The mesh, the texture, the container exchange offering, the slot, the inventory items account, the image name. I mean, we want to send all of this. We want to send all of this to our client, right? In the format of this particular item has been added to your inventory, to your exchange window. The only annoying thing is that in how many places will we have to do this? It's only two. It's only add item and remove item. Probably yes. Probably it's only these two places. I mean, if it's only in these two places, I'm fine. I just don't want to have to create like 1 million other messages, right? Mm, because the way we did it, we created a structure. We have actually a file that is called messages.h, and we created it like this, and we created one, no, not like this, and we created one message, which is actually a structure for each of the old messages. Yeah, so we created one structure for each of the old messages with all the information inside like this, and then we create a message, and then we send it out in the sense that we call a blueprint implementable event, which has as a parameter this message. Okay? It's pretty fine. It's pretty fine. Pretty fine. So I think we can do the same. We can do the same. Hmm. Okay, let's do the same. Is there a simpler way, just to think about before doing it? Is there a simpler way to send this message? Well, um, we need the item name for sure. We need the mesh name. We need the text. We need actually the icon. Is the only thing that we need. We need the slot. Yes. Yeah, I think we need all of this anyway. I think we need all of this because it's the stack count we need, because we need to know how many items we moved. I don't know why we are passing the mesh, actually. The mesh name and mesh. I don't know why we are passing these two things. The name is okay because we are displaying it with the mouse over. But I'm a bit surprised the way we are not giving the item ID in any way. So it's just a visual message, you're just getting the icon on screen, that's it. You're not getting anything else. But when we are sending the inventory, let me just check something. When we are sending the inventory, right? Receive inventory, enter inventory message. This IntelliSense is so slow. Send inventory, okay. When we are sending the inventory, which kind of message, how we are doing this, I don't remember, PSX chip, because it's very similar. Here we are sending one item only, but let me say that it's very, very similar. Maybe we can reuse this F item description. That probably would be better. Yeah, it's a FPS go inventory message. And then we are calling receive inventory PC, okay, with that information. I think it's fine. Yeah, the difference is that in this case we are sending a full inventory, and also we have a bit more information because we have our tooltip when we mouse over one item, which is giving us like the weight, the size, and few other parameters like this. In this case, it seems that we don't need that. We only want the icon. I don't know if it's a good idea though, because someone is offering an item to you. You want to know what is the quality, what is the size, what is the weight, what is everything, right? So why we are restricting it like this? But it seems that it was restricted like this. So when you are at least in the old client, this is what it was. When you inside the exchange window, you have less information than in your inventory. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but that's the way it is. Do we like that? I don't know. Can we reuse this F inventory item description? I would prefer to reuse that than just create a new one. I don't know why you have to create a new one, right? So we have here somewhere our item description. Item description as the slot. Container ID will be empty in this case, as the name, the mesh name, the material name, the weight, the size, the stack count, the icon image, the purifier, so as all of that. So I think this one is exactly the one we want to create and send out. Instead of creating a new message which is made of other stuff, right? I think it's much better. I mean, we are diverging a bit from the old code, but just very, very, very slightly. So it should not be a big issue. It should not be a big issue. We are creating it like this. So I think we can copy the same code and where is it? Exchange add item. I think it was inside of this, right? Yeah, I think it was inside of this. Was inside exchange and send add item message. Yes, here. So instead of this, we will create a new F item description, which we will call exchange item. Why uppercase? No, which we will call exchange item, and we need to pass in the following information, at least the slot that we have. The inventory type we don't have. What is the inventory type, by the way? What is the inventory type? Inventory type? The container? What is the inventory type? -1. Fine. Then we need a name, and we have item get name, exactly like this. Then we have the mesh name, item mesh name. Yeah, you see it's exactly the same. Item get texture name, item get texture name. Then we have the weight. No. Then we have, well, the weight I can send, the total stack size. The total stack size. In this case, we want to have this one, inventory item exchange stack count. This one. Exchange stack count. So inventory item, what is it? Inventory item is a PS character inventory item. Okay, slightly different. Okay, it's fine. Then what we have? Then we have I'm a bit lost in this code. Wait, size stack count. Wait, it was size. Get total stack size and stack count. What is the difference between size and size? I think was the size. I think it was the like encumbrance, you know, how big is the item and how much space it takes in your backpack, while stack count was the number of stacks. So why we did this? Get stack count, get total stack size. Probably it's already like this. It's probably this one is calculating. Yeah, this one is calculating the sides. Let me check. Guess the total size of the items in the stack. Yeah. It's multiplying the item size by the stack count. Okay, perfect. So the actual stack is this. So we want to have this one instead of this. Then we have the item image. Okay, we have the purify status. You know what we are missing, unfortunately? In this item definition, we are missing the container exchange offering. We are missing the container we are sending it to. It's this one. It's -1. Is the container type, right? I think it's the container type. Yeah, why not? It's the container type. Container ID. It's called container ID. Perfect. So we sent everything. The only one that we didn't send is the message strings, but it's like old stuff that we don't want anymore. Right? So this one we can remove. So this one we can remove. Right? Are we convinced of that? Yes, we are. And now that we have our item, we need a function which is similar to the send inventory. Where was that? Similar to this one. Yes, outgoing. Okay, which is a blueprint implementable event, right? Because this one, if we search, I'm pretty sure, if we search inside our get player controller and we search for this function, I will not find it here because it's in the .h, but in the header file. But if I search it here, yes, it's a blueprint implementable event, you see? So we need the same thing. Now the only problem is if I'm sending it to an NPC is fine, but if I'm sending it to another player, well, we will do the player to player later on. For now we do the NPC one, okay? For now we do the NPC one. Otherwise we are thinking ahead too much. So I need another function which is identical to this. I would put it still in my player controller, why not? And this will be called exchange add item. How do we want to call it? Give me a name. It was originally called PS exchange add item message. Okay, we can call it maybe just exchange add item message. Actually, we have all the messages we have with this receive. You see, we had a kind of a naming convention. So I could say receive exchange add item message, or without message, I don't know. Message receive exchange add item seems to be enough. So we will need this one, and then we will need another one, which is the remove, right? Remove item, because we have actually two functions we need to convert. This one, send add item message, and send remove item message. So we need to convert these two. So this will take as a parameter our f item description, which is actually a structure, and this will be called whatever, add item. The remove instead will take what? Remove item message. He only has the slot, so he's not caring about. Well, I can remove. I cannot remove the partial stack, so that's why it is removing it all. Because you see, he has the stack equal to 0 in this case, right? This exchange remove item message is like he's removing the full stack all the time. Probably you cannot split stack on the exchange window. You probably cannot, huh? Remove item message. Let me check the definition. Remove item message. Yes, container, slot, and new stack. I mean, okay, but I don't understand exactly how this works, because if he's saying always to 0, unless there is another one which is remove, removes stack. There is another remove item. There is a remove item, but this one seems to be the one that moves between exchanges, because it's sending a remove item message and another message. So it's moving it from one slot to the other. I think this one is moving from slots. A bit surprised that this one just sends 0 as a stack count. I think we should test it in the old client and see why. I'm surprised, but okay, fine. I don't know. Maybe you cannot remove. I mean, we can test it quickly. If I have. Let's test this quickly because I want to understand this to avoid doing it the wrong way. To avoid doing it the wrong way, yes. Hello, Maui. Welcome back. We are proceeding. Designing our future. Designing a place where all of you can live. I know it sounds bold, but anyway. Okay, dun. We're loading the client. The old client is so slow compared to Unreal. Unreal is doing much more and is loading like much quicker. Okay, if I have, let me spawn another item Falcon. Let me spawn another one. So now, or 3 or 4 or 5. Okay, so now I have 5 items, right, in my inventory. So if I want to speak with this guy and trade with this guy, and I put, let's say, 3 here, then when I go back, no, I can't select. I can select only 1. Then I don't understand how this works, because why in the code is 0 then? I can select the stack exactly as I want. So why the send remove item message is not having a stack count? It's so strange. Send add item message, send remove item message. Is it me that I'm not seeing it? But no, I mean, has 0 here, so he only sending the slot and he's not sending the quantity. I don't get this. Is there another way? Is there another is there another place where remove item? Let's see what this remove item is doing. Count. If count equal to -1, then count inventory item exchange stack count of offer, not the item. Stack count of offer, not of item. Inventory item exchange count, the count. Take out the offering array. Inventory item exchange stack count 0. Inventory item exchange of a slot -1. Remove item and if exchange stack count is minor than count. So if I'm not offering it all, right? If I'm offering just a piece. If I'm offering, so if all is sent out, then I remove the item and I also send an add item message. No, sorry, this one, stack exchange stack count. So what the fuck is count? Remove item count. Is this the one I'm offering or is this the one that I have? I'm confused about that. So I think exchange stack count is the total, right? Is the total amount of items that are available in the exchange window. Sorry, the max number of stack, the max stack I have in the exchange window, right? And count is the one that I selected to exchange. So if stack count, so if the maximum is less or equal to the one that I selected, if the maximum is less or equal, so I have three items. I selected 4. I mean, how can I select 4 if I have 3 items? It's impossible. So will always be less or equal. It will never be greater, no? How can it be greater than? Unless they are the opposite. So there is my stack and there is the total. I don't know. Is exchange stack count the one that I selected? I don't know. I'm confused about this. I'm confused about this. We can debug it and see what kind of numbers are coming through because I'm a bit confused by that. Remove item. We can check who's calling this remove item. No one in this class. Remove item is called by handle merchant sell, for example. Let me see if we have it in the documentation somewhere, if it tells us what is the third parameter, because I'm getting confused. You can do it. Remove item. The amount to remove from that slot. Okay. So this one is the amount to remove from the slot. Okay, so it's the one that I selected. It's the one that I selected, right? This one is the one that I selected. So when I go, so okay. So it is the one that I selected. And there is the total then. So we are saying if the total of items is less or equal to what I selected, I do this. How can it be greater? I mean, how can the amount, I mean, I can select maximum, the maximum amount, no? If the total, I'm confused by this get stack count. It's making me think it's the one I selected, but it's not. This is the one I selected. So if the one I selected, no, it's this one I selected. Sorry, the count is what I select. Why is it not called count selected? Fuck it. Okay, count. So this one is the one I selected. Okay, so it's this one. So I want to know if there are still items selectable. Why they did it this way, not the opposite? Anyway, it should be read the opposite way. It should be read if my item is greater or equal, if the selection is greater or equal than the stack count. It cannot be greater, by the way. Maximum is equal, but anyway, it's greater or equal. If it's less, so if here I'm selecting less items, okay, then what I do, I remove the items I've selected from the total. I mean, what is confusing me is this one, because equal, okay, fine, but it cannot be greater. I will never be able to select more items than the total, right? So this greater is just making me mad, but okay, it's fine. So this one is if I selected the maximum amount, basically this is what it is, right? If I selected the maximum amount, I do this. I put the stack count to 0, in fact, right? I remove this, I don't know exactly what it's doing, and then I send a remove item message. If I selected less items than max, then in this case, what do? This is doing two things. So is it just removing the amount from the stack, which is fine, and then it's sending the removal of the item from the window, and then it's sending the addition of the, okay, that's why it's always 0. You understand why it's always 0? Because it's just removing the item completely and then it's adding it back with the right stack count. So you will see the item going away and then the item appearing back with I don't know, stack count number 1. Okay, let me just put this also in the old code because it's making me a bit confused, and so it can make us confused also in the old code, and I prefer to document it properly. Yeah, I mean less, but you see that thing? I mean, it's the other way around. I mean, I don't know, it's confusing me a lot. But now I think I got it now. What is this? In PS Exchange? Why we don't have Exchange open? Exchange, remove item message. Okay. Send an item message, send remove item message. Wasn't it here? No. PS exchange, remove item. We are inside exchange manager. We are inside exchange manager. Why we are not finding it? Why we are not finding this exact same function? Oh, because it was called exchange. I had to rename it for some reason. Okay, fine. So now you see how this thing is done. Is done that. Let me just add the comment here as well. It's done in a way that is very confusing because it's saying if the total is less or equal to what I select, you know, I would have made it the other way around, right? If what I select is equal or greater than, so I would invert these two parameters, like left with right, because like this is very hard to read. It took me like 2 minutes to understand it. And actually, it will never be greater. It's impossible. Less. I mean, if you read it from right to left, if you read it from right to left instead of left to right, this count will never be greater than the total, right? Because let's say I have 4 falcons, I select maximum 4. It will never be 5. I cannot select 5 because the game doesn't allow me to. So this check is so annoying because it's done this way. But it basically, yeah, that is the point. If you select the maximum amount, or I select less items than the max. Ah, we did it! We survived to this. We did it, boys. Okay, so so I understood why inside our send remove item message we have count as 0. I mean, no, I mean we have, sorry, we have no stack count. I was very confused that we didn't have a stack count. The stack count was actually 0, but the reason is that it's just removing the item from the window completely, whatever is the stack count, and then it's adding back the item with the proper stack count. So the stack count, he has it only when it's sending the add item message. I mean, fine, who cares? Okay, so it's not the best design decision, but it's what it was, and it is what it will be also now. Right? Right. So going back to what we were doing. Going back to what we were doing. We were doing the player to NPC exchange, right? And in particular, player to NPC exchange. Why I don't see the remove item? Is using the same functions of the player to player? Wait a second. Yeah, I think it is. Player to NPC, check exchange. Handle asset. Start exchange. No, probably this one are generic, right? Probably this one are generic. I lost myself. There it is. Yes, they are generic. They are inside PS exchange. Remove item and add item. Okay, so these are the ones. So in this send remove item message and the other one are generic. They are in PS exchange. Okay, fine. So what we said what we said is that we create the item this way, and then instead of doing this, we call whatever we have in player controller. We said that we add our receive exchanger item, right? We have to call this function. And we need to call it on our player controller. So in the same way, in the same exact way that we were calling receive inventory PC. So let me just copy this so it's a bit easier. Copy paste is always nice. So we're basically starting from our actor, which I hope we have. Yes, we have from client. And we get a controller, we cast it to player controller base, and we call, instead of this, we call this the receive exchanger item. Now is a pointer to this. In our case, it's not. It's not a point. Why are outgoing? I have no idea. But in our case, we just pass in exchange item, right? An exchange item should be of type f item description. Let me just check if here we have our f item description, which is called add item. Perfect. Now in the remove item, which is exactly what I was looking at, and then I got in another path, but so all of this we can remove, by the way. All of this we can remove, we don't need anymore. For the remove item, is just passing in the container, the slot, and nothing else. And this 0, I don't know why it's 0. I mean, why you have to pass 0? I mean, we said, is there a, because this message maybe is reused in other cases? Could be. Maybe it's reused in other cases when you do player to player, or when you. Why is this? Let me see when it's used, because I want to understand it before I change it. Is there any place in the code where this is not 0? Is there any place in the code where that is not 0? Hey Soup, you back, huh? You back to see what mess I'm doing, huh? What a mess. No, I'm not doing well. I think yeah, it's taking too much. Let's search it on this side. I want to see if there is any PS exchange remove item message that doesn't have a parameter 0 at the end. In all solution, let's do entire solution. So we'll take 3/4 of an hour to search. No, I think we'll not. Remove item message, because there is only one place, so we're not using this in many places. It will not be in many places. Come on, you can do it. Remove item, no, okay, no. Is not. So I don't know why that parameter is 0, but is never used. This parameter at the end is never used in the code. So whatever. So we don't need it. So the only thing that we need is the client we have. So only the slot and the fact that we are in a container exchange offering. So we have 2 parameters, right? Container ID and slot. So at this point, I think we can just pass it as a parameter, right? We don't create a structure for this, unless we want to use the F item description, but I think it's not a good idea. So let me do just int container ID and int slot. Okay, that's it. And by the way, also container ID is totally useless because we know that is the exchange window that we are removing from, because it's called receive, exchange, remove item. So this one we know already, so I don't know even why we are passing this on. Right? I don't know. I mean, it's not needed. But anyway, let's pass it as it was passed on in the old time. So we have a bit of vintage code. Vintage code. Do you like vintage code? Let's type vintage code with our Skurlock, with our freaking whatever it is. Why is this under something? We have some vintage code. Look at the thingy. Can I make it bigger than 100, like 150? Aha, it's possible, my friends. We have some vintage code. I like vintage. Do you like vintage code? I don't know if I like it, but gotta make it newer. I mean, it was vintage code, and now it's getting a bit better, you know. Vintage code. Okay, sometimes I will pop this up. When we find some vintage code, I will pop that up. Okay. This zero is definitely vintage code. It is. Okay. So now for the add we did the job. Now we have to do the job for the remove, where we said that we just calling the same thing, and then we do receive whatever, exchange, remove item, blah blah blah, and we just pass on these two parameters, right? And all of this we can remove. Nice. Okay. So when this happens, the client will receive a message saying to remove the item from the exchange window. The only problem is that at the moment the client is not ready to receive these messages, because actually these two functions that do not exist in our blueprints that we have to add now. This will be called for sure. Now, one issue we have is that our window, there's people anyway working here. Huh? As you can see, there is someone here called whatever. There's someone called Mrokikak, Kingdom of Valor. Here's the guild. Maybe some of you. Which is actually crafting some. Oh, nice weapon, by the way. Look at this weapon. Nice weapon. Typical Kirukai weapon. Typical one. He's working on something. He's making something. Maybe he's making some weapons and stuff. I don't know. He's making something. Where is this sign? No mounts in the smith. There is a sign here that says no mounts in the smithing. So you should not enter with a horse inside. There is Article 36 of the decree. The Article 36 says that little clacker. You should not dispose of your scraps in a furnace. Okay. So you have to put your scraps. Don't be a little clacker. Okay, I understood it now. Don't be a little clacker. I never seen this message, by the way. Funny or not, I never seen this message. I've seen it now the first time in my life. Okay, So send remove item message. So these two are working. Now let's put it into our editor in the editor, right? Let's receive. No. Wait. I first have to compile. Otherwise, those two. Okay, start already. I will close it. We have to recompile. Otherwise, those two new messages will never go into the editor. We also have to understand why. Okay, the editor is starting. We also have to understand. Okay, I open and close too many times. Yes, you can do it. No, I still have all my clients open. Okay. Fine, I'll close it. I still have the client open, and I also have my Visual Studio in debug mode. Okay, the server was still running in debug mode, but we're doing all those changes. Okay, fine. Okay, we just deleted that. We just recompiled this. Now, I think we need to fix the exchange window though in a way that is not full of sacks, full of those small sacks, because we need to see the icons. Why is getting all those default icons for some reason? I don't know. I think we use the same initialization mechanism of the old one, of the inventor, I have to check that. So let me ask you something. For the crafting, in the future, we would like to have some mini games, right? Mini games. I don't know exactly how to describe mini games, but let's say that you have, for example, you need to make a dress. Okay, let's say that you need to make a dress, and are you listening to me? I don't know whoever is listening, but if you are, I mean, listen now. Listen now. If you are not listening, listen now. Okay. So, for example, when you are crafting a dress, right? When you're crafting a dress, I'm making a dress just as an example, right? You will have like a mini game, which will be a pattern. I don't know, like this, right? And it will be a pattern like this, and basically you will have to move your mouse, for example, inside of this thing without touching the sides, right? And based on your skill, let's say that you have skill rank 1, right? You have skill rank 1. Your mouse, unfortunately, considering you have very low skill, will move automatically quite a bit. I mean, it will like do like this, it will like move up and down a bit, so it will be very imprecise. So for you to actually not touch the sides will be extremely hard, right? If you have low skill, so you will touch it few times. So let's say that you are moving this thing, let's see that it is my movement, right? I'm moving. This is moving up and down. So it's very hard for me. Boom, you hit it. Okay, so you will get like a mark to say that you hit it once. Then, oops, server is starting. Then you go. Boom, you hit it again, and you get another mark, and so on, right? And then maybe you manage to go until the boom, you hit it 3-4 times more, right? You hit it one time here, one time here, one time here. So you hit it 5 times, and so let's say that the resulting quality of your item will be, I don't know, I'm just saying, just putting random numbers, but let's say that you can build an item from 50 to 100, right? So the maximum in this case would be 100 based on your skill. You hit it 5 times, I don't know, it's 10 per shot, and so it will become only 50 quality, right? Quality 50. Then when you will have higher skill, then your mouse will not move at all, right? So you have like 200 skill, then you know, or the pattern will be simpler. No, but I think the pattern will be the same. The pattern will be the same as above. Now I cannot draw it the same, but it will be the same as above. The difference is that your mouse will be perfectly still, you know, so you will be able to do this in a second. So you'll be able to go through without touching anything very, very quickly. So this will also improve the speed at which you are crafting. You know, you can craft one like this, one like this, one like this. You're not touching the, you know. And then there will be maybe some other items which are very complex to craft for whatever reason, because they are, I don't know, highly magical, I don't know, whatever. Maybe those ones will have a pattern which is freaking insane, you know. And maybe it will be super small. I don't know. It would be like something like this. I don't know. It would be like holy hell. Well, this is impossible, but except this piece, okay, where you cannot make it, obviously. Right. I cannot delete it. I want to delete it. Okay. But you got the point, right? So they will be maybe for a magical item, you know, for a magical robe, a magical dress. It would be something like this. And so freaking hell, you will have to go like super slow to avoid this, even if you have very high skill. And actually, if you have low skill, I mean, like here will be like nearly impossible. Okay, anyway. And if you have very low skill, the mouse will move so much. You know, if you have 10 skill, it will move so much. If you try to do this, you will touch the things a million times. And so the result will be an unusable item, an item that is not usable. Do you think it makes, I mean, do you like the concept of a mini game for crafting that is something like this or not? I would like to know, because it is probably what we're gonna do. You are not really convinced, okay? You're not really convinced. I mean, you're not convinced in the sense that it seems a waste of time, or it's not fun to play, or I mean, what is the? You think it would be too hard or annoying, or? Because I think it will add some interaction to the crafting, you know, which is maybe what we want. So I make another example. The other example is this, because I was already thinking about it. So the other example is the following. You have to make a recipe of a stew of some kind. Okay, a stew. I don't know, meat and vegetables and whatever, right? So you have a pot. You have a pot, and you have small pieces. Wait a second. You have small pieces. Yes, you have small pieces of meat floating around in your pot. They are moving, right? They are moving, and with the same idea, the hardest is the recipe. The more pieces you will have on screen, And let's say that in this case you have a small I don't know if I can draw it. You have a small spoon. Okay, how do I do the spoon? Let's do it blue. You have a spoon. Okay, this is not really blue. You have a spoon which is moved by your mouse, right? And you have to hit with the tip of your spoon all these things as they pop up, as they pop up on screen. So you will be like clicking here, clicking here, clicking here, then another one pops up, you click on it, another one pops up, click on it, another one pops up, click on it, like you're putting them down, inside the stew, you're keeping them below the surface of the water, right? And if you do that properly, if no one remains, I don't know, on top for X amount of seconds or something like this, then the recipe is great. If only one or two remains on top, then the recipe is maybe a bit less quality. So there is the idea of a recipe, for example. But there will be many others, right? So imagine you have to do, I mean, whatever. We can invent a million of this. We can invent a million of this. We can invent, for example, you are crafting. Let me think to another one. You are still crafting, maybe you're still crafting a recipe of a drink. Okay, so you're making a drink. So in this case, you see the glass. You see the glass from the side like this. You have your liquid. You have your liquid kind of here. How do I do it? Sorry, kind of here, right? I don't know why the line at the bottom became blue. So annoying. Okay, you have your liquid here, and maybe, I don't know, or we do the same thing, like there are bubbles going up, there are bubbles going up and you have to stop the bubbles. Okay, or maybe there is some special ingredient, we should never touch the ground for whatever reason, because you have to mix it well. So also also in this case you have a small tool, right? You have a small tool that goes in. The blue is the tool. Okay, you have a small tool that goes in and is like a small steering thing. I'm not an English guy, so I don't know all the names, and you have to keep these things up. For example, they should never touch the ground. They should never touch the ground, or something like that. And so again, depending on how many of this you are touching the ground at the end. So if there is one that is touching the ground here and another one is touching the ground, then maybe these two, this thing lasts like 30 seconds. And if you have two on the ground, is minus 20 quality, right? And if there are three, is minus 30 quality and such. So something like that. I don't know. I think it would be fun to craft this way. I don't know if you are doing massively. I mean, there should be a way that after you are like rank 1. So let's imagine that you are rank 100. Okay, so if you are rank 100, you don't want to do the puzzles that you were doing when you were rank 1. Maybe at rank 100, all the simple ones just work automatically for you. So you just don't do it. You just don't have to do this, because they just work automatically, because you are so good at making drinks that is automatic. But maybe you get new puzzles, maybe so all the basic drinks you do automatically, so you just click on make it and you don't see any puzzle. But the one that are maybe 100 plus, or are close to 100, plus minus, I don't know, 20% of your skill, then you get a new puzzle, and maybe this time there are, I don't know, 2 different colors of things, and you have two different tools, one with a keyboard and one with the mouse. I don't know, I'm just inventing, but and you have to keep these things up. I don't know. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? Think it's a good idea? Think it's a stupid idea? Think you will get mad after 2 minutes? I don't know. Tell me. Tell me what you think. I want to know what you think. If you think it's a stupid idea, tell it's a stupid idea. I'm not getting offended at all, okay? So it's just a discussion. If you think it's a stupid idea, you can tell. But I would like to make, let's say, crafting a bit more interactive. Right? Slightly more interactive. A bit like, did you play Skyrim? When you are unlocking locks, right? Did you see it? When you I don't know if you have seen it. No, it's not this one. It makes no sense. Video. I think we should say pick lock. Yeah, pick lock. The secret of pick locking. So in this case,
what's up, YouTube?
What they are doing. By the way, I don't know if YouTube is getting upset if I'm using videos of someone else just for a few seconds, but you see what they are doing here, right? You are basically moving. You're basically moving one of the tools. You're moving one of the tools left and right, and the other one stays like this. I think I don't remember, but you're moving left and right, and based on the position, you are able to unlock the lock. Right? That is the thing. So yeah, I would like to do something similar. I mean that was fun when you are pick locking things in Skyrim is okay. I mean it's not the greatest game, obviously, just lock picking, but it's fun than just having to click on something. Yes, you have to wiggle. Yes, you have to move the lockpicks, and they do a bit of sound so that you sense when you are close to the solution. You know, because like imagine that you are moving it close, and it goes like tick 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 tick, and then you go, and then you move it away, and it goes like tick 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 tick. Right? So you really get a feeling while you are moving the pick if you are close to the solution or not. So I would like to do the same for anything crafting. I would like to do the same for I would like to do the same for anything crafting, really, because I think it's a good idea. But it has to be made in a way that is not annoying, you know. So again, if you are very high rank, you get the stuff automatically. If you are not high rank, then you have to do this weird. But I think it would be fun at the beginning. It should not become too repetitive. That's the point. Right? Now, will people hack the client so that their mouse is doing that automatically? Probably yes. So that would be annoying, but pretty sure people will do it. Pretty sure people will do it. So we will have to. So that's obviously cheatable, right? That's obviously cheatable because it's all client side. unless we do something server side. I mean, unless we strengthen it a bit, but I don't know if it's really possible. I have to think about it. But I mean, people could create then, clients that are doing that automatically without the skill. But that's unfortunate. Maybe we could detect that somehow. Yeah, but I don't know. Okay, so what we were doing, forgot completely. I know we were inside the exchange window and we were trying to do whenever we are moving an item. I just would like to see if initialize was logged in MP9. I just would like to see if our new methods, which is remove item, are popping up. No, they are not. In our player controller. Did we place it in our player controller at the end or not? Send remove item. One is called like this. No, receive exchange remove item. Receive exchange remove item. Yeah, they are here. You see? They are starting to pop up. So receive event receive exchange remove item is here. Okay, so we have these events now that we can call. The problem is that character detail interaction. Where do we place it? We place it here on the end, right? So we will have two methods. One is this one, which is receive event receive exchange remove item, and the other one is receive exchange add item. Yes, Maui, like that, exactly like that. So I don't know if you have an opinion on this, but to me it's interesting. So this one will be what? Will be receive exchange messages from server. Right? Now we have to implement these two. I don't think we can do it tonight, but I think we can do it tomorrow. I think we did a good piece anyway today. We at least we understood how the world code was working. We initialized our exchange and we managed to create these two events that we can receive client side. And we also worked a bit on this concept of mini games, which is not bad. So with that said, I think I will close for today. I will close the stream for today. I will probably stream tomorrow if all goes well. Right? And yes, I think I will be able to stream tomorrow a bit. Tomorrow evening. And with that said, I think I will see you next time. What do you think? Is it done? I think it's done. Is it done? Is it done? See you, boys. Our exchange window will work. I tell you, it will work. It's only a matter of time.